guys, today I'm back with Leviticus chapter 6 today. So today we know all of this, so let's start now. Chapter 6. The Lord spoke to Moses. He said, suppose someone sins by not being faithful to me. They do it by tricking their neighbors. They trick them in connection with something their neighbors have placed in their care. They steal from their neighbors, or they cheat them, or they find something their neighbors have lost and tell a lie about it. Or they go to court, they promise to tell the truth, but instead they tell a lie when they are a witness about it. Or they lie when sin, they are witness about any other sin like those sins. When they sin in any of these ways and realize their guilt, they must return what they stole. They must give back what they took by cheating their neighbors. They must return what their neighbors placed in their care. They must return the lost property they found. They must return anything they told a lie about when they were witness in court. They must pay back everything in full. They must add a fifth of its value to it. They must give all of it to the owner on the day they bring their guilt offering. He must bring their guilt offering to the priest to pay for their sin. It is an offering to me. They must bring a ram from the flock. It must not have any flaws. It must be worth the required amount of money. The priest will sacrifice the ram, pay for their sin. He will do it in my sight, that they will be forgiven for any of the things they did that made them guilty. More rules for burnt offerings. The Lord spoke to Moses. He said, give Aaron and the priests in his family line a command. Tell them, here are some more rules for burnt offerings. The burnt offering must remain on the altar through the whole night. The fire on the altar must be kept burning until morning. The priest must put on his linen clothes. He must put on the linen underwear next to his body. He must remove the ashes of the burnt offering that the fire had burned up on the altar. He must place them beside the altar. Then he must take his clothes off and put other clothes on. He must carry the ashes outside the camp to a clean place. The fire on the altar must be kept burning. It must not go out. Every morning the priest must add more wood to the fire. He must place the burnt offering on the fire. He must burn the fat of the friendship offerings on it. The fire must be kept burning on the altar all the time. It must not go out. More rules for grain offerings. Here are some more rules for grain offerings. The priest in Aaron's family line must bring the grain offering to the Lord in front of the altar. The priest must take a handful of the finest flour and olive oil. He must add it to the incense on the grain offering. He must burn that part on the altar. It will remind him that all good things come from the Lord. It shall please the Lord. Aaron, priest in his family line, will eat the rest of it, but they must eat it without yeast in the holy area. They must eat it in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. It must not be baked with yeast added to it. The Lord has given it to the priests as their share of the food offerings presented to them. It is a very holy, just like the sin offering and the guilt offering. Any priest in Aaron's family line can eat it. It is their share of the food offerings presented to the Lord. It is their share for our time to come. Anyone who touches these offerings will be holy. The Lord spoke to Moses. He said, on the day each high priest in Aaron's family line is anointed, he must bring an offering to me. He must bring 3.5 pounds of the Fine flour as a regular grain offering. He must bring half of it in the morning. He must bring the other half in the evening. Mix it with olive oil, cook it on the metal plate, break it in pieces. Bring it as a grain offering in small plates at the Lord. The son of Aaron, who will become the next high priest after him, will prepare the grain offering. It is the share that must be given to the Lord for all time to come. It must be completely burned up. Every grain offering a high priest offers must be completely burned up. It must not be eaten. More rules for sin offerings. The Lord spoke to Moses. He said, "Speak to Aaron and the priest and his family line. Tell them, here are some more rules for sin offerings. You must kill the animal for sin offering in the sight of the Lord. Kill it in the place where burnt offerings is killed. It is very holy. The priest who offers it will eat it. He must eat it in the holy areas. He must eat it in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. Anyone who touches any of its meat will become holy. Suppose some of the blood is spilled on someone's clothes, then you must wash them in the holy area. Break the clay pot. The meat is cooked in. But suppose you cook in a bronze pot, then you must rub the pot and rinse it with water. Any male in a priest's family eat the meat. It is very holy. But suppose some of the blood of a sin offering is brought into the tent of meeting, and blood is brought into the holy room to pay for sin, then that sin offering must not be eaten. It must be burned up. So we read it all in the book, so let's go and read the box. Leviticus chapter 6, 1-7 part. Finders keepers. Some people say finders keepers, losers weepers. They mean that if they found something that you lost, too bad, they get to keep it, you don't. Now read Leviticus chapter 6, 1-7. What do you think you should do when these things happen? You find lots of money on the kitchen floor. You borrow your friend's pen and forget to give it back. You find that the jacket you brought home from the game isn't yours. How do you think God feels about finders keepers, looters keepers? Well, number 2, I got one at when I was 5 years old. I had a friend, a very close friend. I borrowed a toy dump truck. I want to dump truck or some kind of truck toy. I remember it still. I go to his home and asked him, "Can you borrow this? I just want to play with this." And he said, "Okay." I borrowed it. He go to Philippines, but I need to give it before. I wanted to give it. I forgot for a year, and he go to Philippines. Well, too bad. Yeah, well, thankfully, Jesus was born. He took all our sins actually, and well, you need to pay back before you need to pay back. So who would actually sin actually? Well, there might be. Well, yeah. So let's go pray. Okay, let's start. Dear God, Savior, that more rules about the offerings say and say. We learned about how to we learn to not sin and also everything's not under keepers, loser keepers, and we'll not sin and help us God. Thank you always. Amen. Well, yeah, thank you for watching my videos. Well, I hope you see you next time. Well. Well, goodbye. See you at church.